Hi everyone, welcome to this video. Now in this video, we're going to be going over how to track and understand your workload unit usage. So let's jump into this one and get started. So I'm sitting here on the editor, and what I want to first show you is actually how you can access your workload unit information, or your app metrics as it's called. So if I jump over to this section in the logs, there is this section called app metrics, and what it gives you is it gives you an overview of the workload usage in your application. And what we can actually do is we can see our workload usage over time, and there's a variety of filters by which we can actually see it, and we can keep on clicking in. So if I go by month, for example, I can see my workload unit usage on every single day of the month. And then if I click on this one, it will filter it to that day. And if I scroll down, I can see my workloads by activity as it relates to this particular day. On the right-hand side, I can see a number of categorizations for my workload by activity. And I have this opportunity to drill down on each activity to the unit level and then actually see the unit contributing to the workload activity. So to show you what this actually means is I can click on fetching data and I can see that it relates to 73.82 workload units. If I click on it here, I can now see that there's a number of more workload categorizations within this fetching data component. There's aggregate search or search, for example. So if I want to drill down into search and what's contributing to it, I can click on it here. And then I can see, okay, there's this repeating group, there's this search for app settings, and there's a search for users. And if I click on this one again, it actually relates me to the exact search in the editor, which is contributing to that workload unit usage. So I can click on it and I can see that search. And what that's really useful for me is I can understand exactly which searches or which workloads are contributing to a high amount of my workload units. And then by checking them in the editor, I can go, okay, should I actually optimize this workflow? Should I design this differently? Should I change this search to reduce the amount of workload units and ultimately to improve performance? Going back to my app metrics and just jumping back to the overall section of the workload by activity, I do want to highlight that this is a test application. So the proportion of the different kinds of categorization just may not be reflective of what you will see in your application, and every application is unique. What I do want to highlight is my process of how I actually view and optimize workload units. So what I usually try to do is improve either the fetching data or the workflow sections, and I view this as an opportunity to really identify heavy searches or taxing workflows, which me as a developer, I can jump in through the editor and actually explore if these can be improved, optimized, or built in a better way to improve the workload units and thereby improve the performance of our application. The final thing that I do want to go over is just how we as developers can understand the impact on workload units an action or a workflow that we do set up will have as we are doing it. So to give you an example, I'll jump over to my preview mode. So what I'm sitting here on is this social network that we've been building, and I'm sitting on a profile search page where I can view a list of profiles. And for these profiles, I have the ability to send a friend request. And if I just click on it now, I can send a friend request. And what this will do is it will send a friend request to the user. They'll be notified of this friend request. We saw a little error alert come up just before, and the button now says request has been sent. What I want to do now is I want to show you the amount of workload units that is related to that workflow. And the way that I can do that is I can jump over to my server logs and I can do a search. And what this will go over is it will tell me, all right, this button has been clicked. We started to run a workflow. We then ran an action, and then we finished running this workflow, and it in total used 0.7 workload units. And this is just really useful for me because it gives me a way of understanding exactly how much workload units a particular action and a workflow undertook. So as I'm going through this process of developing, what I can do is I can jump over to my server logs after I have tested that workflow and go, okay, what is the impact on workload units? Is this a very taxing workflow, or is this workflow already optimized and I don't need to make any changes to it?